Hello and welcome to the August 9th, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting money into this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and Good.co. But we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Good evening, everybody. Hey, Becky. Hey, Nico. Liked and shared, thank you very much, Becky. All the interaction with our content, liking, sharing, commenting, etc., is what continues to drive Nick's News. Can't thank you all enough for that, so... Hopefully my voice holds. The con crud is gone, but I still just haven't gotten 100% of my voice back, so fingers crossed that we'll be able to get through this. Luckily, tonight's news brew is either going to help me accomplish that or it's going to do me in. So, with how difficult the waking world can be, sometimes you'd rather be sleeping forever. Celebrating 10 years of operation, the Veil Brewing Company has provided this 12% ABV alternative to being awake. This decadent Imperial Stout was blended in a few different bourbon barrels, full of mature, 20-plus month aged Sleeping Forever. So it's like a double hit of Goodnight. I was actually given this by my friend Matt. Matt, if you're watching, thank you very much for this and several other beers that are news brews in the coming episodes. I am looking forward to this one so much. So, it is an Imperial Stout. So we have the Imperial Snifter, which is working overtime, I swear. Let's get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. We don't need the Balisong bottle opener, so we'll just blow the gain on the audio. Oh, that smells rich, and it looks thick. Oh, that is darkness on darkness. Dear Lord, that is motor oil. Oh, that is a beer that will be chewed. Every last drop out of that can. Holy crap. This is gonna knock me on my ass. It's only 12%, but... Jeez. Oh my gosh, that's a strong beer. All right, all right. Shoutouts. We want to give a big shout out to Tesla Tree Service and their upcoming collaboration with the Dodo. Make sure you are following Tesla Tree Service on all their socials and follow the Dodo for recognizing Tesla's awesomeness. Links to socials are below in the description of our video, and we'll of course let you know when their video hits. I have loved watching everything from Tesla Tree Service, all of their work, as well as a lot of stuff on the Dodo. The Dodo is a wonderful channel about animals and just has a ton of great information to provide. So it's going to be a fantastic collaboration to the Tesla Tree Service and the Dodo. Good luck and cheers. Oh my gosh, that is so rich and so thick. That caught me by surprise. Like, you can watch a beer pour and you can get an idea for the thickness of it. This is a step, one step away from like maple syrup. Oh my gosh. Oh, 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 there's so much flavor. That might be a 5 out of 5. Holy crap. That is a wildly complex and deep stout. Oh, all that time in the barrel did that some good. All right. Next shout out. The Gen Con Film Festival was a great place to meet phenomenal folks like those at All Tower Media. The amount of work that goes into the production of a film, be it a short film or a long film, is really awe inspiring. And we'd like to give a shout out to the creators, such as Matt Roper, Kristie Walker, and Laura Mec. Laura's also an accomplished author, which is really awesome. Much respect and appreciation for everyone working to create very memorable content. Links to All Tower Media, as well as Laura Mec and her current book that's on sale, are in the description below. So to All Tower Media, Matt Roper, Kristie Walker, Laura Mec, and everyone else who's part of the production of some really great films. Cheers. Oh my gosh. Hey, Charlie. Whew. News quote: Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. That comes from Ludwig Philipp Albert Schweitzer, who lived from 1875 to 1965, who was a German polymath, theologian, organist, musicologist, writer, humanitarian, philosopher, and physician. And I really love that quote because it really does speak for the kind of Ouroboros that is success and happiness, and that they can chase one another, or you think you might be chasing one when in actuality you're trying to find the other. And the biggest thing is happiness. Happiness is one of the most important things to all of us, because it's what keeps us going. The moment that you lose that happiness, and you lose happiness in general, is the moment when everything starts breaking down. And so being able to maintain happiness, or find it, or receive it, from perhaps somebody that brings it to you, or perhaps your job, or your career, is very important to us. And it took me a long time to find what I'm happy doing. And now I'm in a place where I am happy with what I do, not just Nick's News, but my career as well. And so I wholeheartedly believe in this quote. And again, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. From Ludwig Philipp Albert Schweitzer. Cheers. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. It's so heavy. Wow. Bug update. I was out of town again this weekend, and let me tell you, the bugs could have cared less. They don't care when I'm not around. They're doing just fine. When everything's doing well, there's nothing to complain about. Little John, our Emperor Scorpion, he might actually be in pre-molt. He's kind of refusing food right now, and he's really plumped up, kind of the way Sue was, our Asian Forest Scorpion, before Sue molted last time. So we're going to keep an eye on Little John and see if he's about to undergo a glow up. I've got a fly in here, too. I'm going to have to take care of that sucker. All right. With that, let's get into our good news. And our good news is broken up into 4 major categories. And those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. So we are going to start in category 1, science and technology. We've got 2 articles in here for you tonight. The links to all of our articles are in the description below. And before we get into our first article, I would like to kindly ask if you could like, subscribe, comment, share, just interact with our content in some way. All of it is what drives the algorithm to continue to push Nick's News and push our good news and joy into the algorithm. So any and every interaction with our content helps, and I can't thank you all enough for it. So with that, I will get into our first article, which we called One Step at a Time. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Inspired by his grandparents, high schooler invents crosswalk system that adapts to pedestrian speeds. This was published on July 19th of 2026 to Nice News by Rebecca Brands. They say necessity is the mother of invention. Sorry. They say necessity is the mother of invention, but sometimes it takes a thoughtful observer to notice and address a particular need. For rising high school senior Jae Jung, a light bulb went off while he was crossing the street. Jung is the creator of Smart Blink, an adaptive traffic light system that adjusts its signal changes based on the speed at which pedestrians move through the crosswalk, rather than prioritizing vehicular traffic patterns. That's right. Instead of instead of really wanting the cars to go, how about we give the people a chance? The idea stemmed not from his own ability to walk across before the light changes, but the trouble his grandparents often have in doing so. The 18-year-old attends boarding school in Massachusetts, but on breaks he would return home to Daegu, one of South Korea's largest cities. Whenever I would go out with them, my grandparents, we would not even be halfway when the traffic light turned red, he told Nice News. Multiple of these moments made me question, is it really okay for public facing infrastructure that's meant for everybody in the city to be discriminating based on human differences and their abilities? The answer to Jung is no. So the techie teen got to work designing a cost effective system that adapts to real time crossing behavior using a combination of commercially available software and hardware. It functions in varying lighting conditions, delivers tactile, visual, and audio alerts via an app, and detects assistive devices like crutches and wheelchairs with 90 to 95% accuracy. Smart Blink earned him first place in the Behavioral and Social Sciences category at the 2026 Regeneron International Science and Engineering Fair. Hosted by the Society for Science, the fair is the world's largest pre-collegiate STEM competition. This year, it drew over 1,700 finalists from 60 countries to Phoenix, Arizona, where they showcased their projects in hopes of winning and taking home a portion of the $7 million in awards and prizes. In his submission video, Jung explains that fixed traffic signals assume an average pedestrian walking speed of 3.9 feet per second, but that 96% of adults over 60 and people with mobility disabilities walk slower than that. The teen, who runs on his school track team and enjoys producing hip hop and pop music in his free time, started development of his system by spending hours at a local crosswalk capturing data. He then began building, adjusting, and iterating. The end product combines multiple algorithms with an object detection model that detects pedestrian speed. By knowing their real-time speed, I was able to calculate how much time was needed for each pedestrian to cross a certain length of the crosswalk, Jung told Nice News. And by doing this, people can cross without having that enhanced perceived safety of, oh, I know that the crosswalk will extend time, so I don't have to rush or think about different accidents that can happen, like a car not waiting for them to cross. Jung said he's still figuring out what exactly he wants to do after graduating next year, but is interested in continuing to explore the ways in which technology can ensure that the spaces we inhabit are accessible for everyone. For now, he's reaching out to policymakers and tech companies with the aim of mass producing Smart Blink and implementing it in communities. As for what his grandparents think of his invention, they were kind of touched because they didn't realize that I was taking notes of these small moments, Jung shared. And when they saw that I made this for them, they were really impressed and also heartwarmed that I thought so deeply about these issues and also these day-to-day experiences that we had together. That is awesome. To Jae Jung, who witnessing his grandparents going through a crosswalk and seeing how quickly it changes, devised a new system that takes into account how fast pedestrians are actually crossing. Cheers. Oh, thick beer is thick with 3 C's. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Whew. All right. We call this next one in science and technology a bird's eye view. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this one out. Personally, I love these JPL ones. New NASA Earth missions gear up to start science flights. This was published on July 20th, 2026. Who published it? Who wrote this? It was written by Sally Younger, and it was published on Jet Propulsion Laboratories' website. Landslides in Alaska, air quality in Atlanta, fire clouds out west. From the Arctic fringes to farm country, NASA's newest class of suborbital Earth venture missions is gearing up to deliver science that will benefit communities in the United States and beyond. The 6 projects will mobilize hundreds of scientists and pilots from NASA, the U.S. Navy, universities, and other institutions over the next several years. While the investigations range across topics, a defining feature of suborbital missions is the use of sensors mounted on aircraft. Airborne remote sensing serves as a bridge between ground-based instruments and satellites. Data collected via planes, helicopters, drones, and balloons can fill in gaps in computer models used by weather forecasters, city planners, and others. The first project to take wing this summer is Injected Smoke and Pyrocumulonimbus Experiment, or INSPIRE, led by the Naval Research Laboratory. If you've never heard of a pyrocumulonimbus, look it up. I love weather. I did a little bit of studying in meteorology with the hope at the time of becoming a meteorologist. I've still kept up with meteorology. And pyrocumulonimbus clouds are utter insanity. From mission headquarters in Colorado, the team will chase one of the least understood forms of severe weather on Earth: towering fire clouds generated when extreme wildfires burn hot enough to brew their own thunderstorms. Smoky and crackling with lightning, these unique storms can create blind spots for aviators above and spark new blazes below. Measuring and mapping the dangerous storms as they develop in real time will help scientists forecast them in the future. Several aircraft, including NASA's high-altitude ER-2, which is flying out of Montana, will carry a large suite of instruments over wildfire-generated storm systems. Among them will be 2 state-of-the-art infrared wildfire trackers, which were developed at the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL, in Southern California, and will be flying as part of the agency's Fire Sense program. Becky says that explains the Weather Wizard posts before each event. So I tend to do weather posts before LARP events so that folks who attend can have an idea of what the weather has in store for us over the weekend. So thank you, Becky, for shouting that out. Agricultural emissions represent an important understudied part of Earth's land and atmosphere systems. The Farm Flux mission, which kicks off this year, will deploy more than a dozen sensors to measure ozone, methane, ammonia, particulates, and other pollutants that are rising from agricultural lands and animal farms, stretching from the Midwest to California's Central Valley. These emissions affect human health, global climate, and stratospheric ozone. The mission is led by NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, along with Colorado State University and Boston University. 2 North American cities with air quality concerns are Atlanta and Mexico City. But the causes differ, with weather and terrain playing a role. To explore these differences, the Hemispheric Airborne Measurements of Air Quality, or HAMMOC, mission will investigate areas of poor air in the two capitals and test how satellite information can help forecasting and mitigation efforts. The team will deploy 2 aircraft at different altitudes. NASA's P-3B will fly close to the surface, directly measuring fine particle and gaseous pollutants, while the recently acquired 777 Science Jet will soar high above, mapping pollution with remote sensors. NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, is leading this mission. As the Arctic warms at least twice as fast as the rest of the Earth, data collected today can help guide communities on the front lines of that change. The Snow for Flow campaign, led by the University of Arizona, seeks to measure and model how far and fast glaciers are retreating in the far north. Traversing remote icescapes across Alaska, the Yukon, Arctic Canada, Greenland, and Svalbard, Norway, they'll sound both the near surface and frozen depths of hundreds of glaciers while flying over in a modernized World War II era aircraft outfitted with a scanning laser altimeter and 2 custom radars. Their observations, combined with satellite data and advanced models of snowfall and glacier flow, will advance our understanding of how glaciers behave in different regions of the Arctic. The mission seeks to uncover not just what these glaciers look like beneath the surface today, but the processes that will drive changes in the future. As permafrost thaws, rivers on the doorstep of the Arctic become conveyor belts of carbon and sediment. NASA Goddard and the City College of New York led a multidisciplinary team studying how rivers, lagoons, and estuaries across Alaska's North Slope interact with the Arctic Ocean. The project, called Front Lines of Rapidly Transforming Ecosystems, or FORTE, gosh, we love our, our acronyms, will combine optical and radar measurements from satellites, planes, high-tech research vessels, drones, and underwater autonomous systems to track microscopic marine life, water flow, and chemistry. The team will collaborate with local and tribal communities to sustain observations over time and apply NASA assets to address emerging local needs and decision-making priorities. When a slow-moving landslide in California suddenly collapsed and buried a section of coastal highway in 2017, scientists at NASA JPL wanted to know how precipitation swings played a role. JPL studies how water infiltrates and destabilizes hill slopes all over the world. The Landslide Change Characterization Experiment, or LACCI, project will combine airborne synthetic aperture radar with land-based sensors to track how slopes... That fly is bugging me. God dang it. It's back with a vengeance. Sorry. So the LACCI project will combine airborne synthetic aperture radar with land-based sensors to track how slopes in California are responding to a world of intensifying droughts and downpours. The project also takes aim at emerging landslide hazards in Alaska, where rapidly retreating glaciers are accelerating slope movements that have the potential to create mega tsunamis. Another thing to look up, not just pyrocumulonimbus, but look up mega tsunamis. NASA's Earth Venture suborbital program, designed to be nimble and high impact, was established following a recommendation by the National Research Council back in 2007. In the decades since, teams have studied phenomena including blizzards, coral reefs, and ocean whirlpools. That is really awesome. To NASA JPL and all of the different groups, colleges, states, capitals that are coming together to keep an eye on the climate, the weather, and different aspects of our world, to all in the interest of safety of others. Cheers. Maybe use some chopsticks for the fly. I don't think I could catch that fly with chopsticks. I'm not that good, but I don't know where he's gone now. Hopefully he just stays dead. Oop, I just saw Little John came out too. All right. That is going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. We've got 2 articles in here. The first one we called A Better Way to Capture the Moment. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this one out. I mean, if that fly visits the bug babies, it's likely to get eaten by at least one of them. European Broadcasting Union offers a guide to reduce sexualizing camera angles of Olympic women athletes. This was published to good.is on July 15th of 2026 by Eric Barnes. Being an athlete is tough, especially if you're an Olympian. They sacrifice their time and their bodies in order to achieve peak physical condition. There is also the mental pressure to compete against the best. The last thing they should worry about is being objectified or sexualized online. With this in mind, the European Broadcasting Union wants to help. They offered a booklet to broadcasters titled Raising the Bar: Guidelines for Respectful Media Coverage in Women's Athletics. The 23-page guide shows how camera placement choices and editing could potentially compromise an athlete. It also offers broadcasters guidelines for how to set up camera shots and show slow-motion replays that won't sexualize or present athletes in undignified poses. These guidelines come as multiple stories about women athletes being harassed online have surfaced. Many misogynistic posts about athletes have come from slow-motion footage focused on certain parts of the athlete's body. The sexualization of women athletes through selective camera angles and editing choices continues to be a significant concern across many sports broadcasts, wrote Glenn Killane, an executive director of EBU Sport in the booklet. Sorry. Lingering shots on bodies, low-angle cameras that capture revealing views, and excessive slow-motion replays that serve no technical or storytelling purpose are among the issues observed in the media coverage of women's athletics competitions today. These new broadcast guidelines and suggestions are backed by Serbian long jumper Ivana Spanovic, British Olympian pole vaulter Holly Bradshaw, and Croatian high jumper Blanka Vlasic. Vlasic has spoken out regarding the equal visibility of women's sports. Bradshaw has spoken out against the discomfort and sexualization of Olympian women athletes due to their tight-fitting uniforms. I firsthand have received social media abuse and witnessed inappropriate videos online of myself and colleagues when slow-motion content of us competing is captured, wrote Bradshaw in the guide. Athletes want to enjoy themselves doing the sport they love without feeling uncomfortable or anxious about the footage being shown live. Many athletes, myself included, have been in competitive scenarios where they are more focused on the cameras instead of their own performance. The guide provides visual aids for broadcasters along with insights from the athletes to try. Gosh, if I could talk tonight. The guide provides visual aids for broadcasters along with insights from the athletes to explain why certain shots would be preferred. Broadcasters are requested to avoid tight shots from the back of athletes. They're also asked to avoid low camera angles from underneath. They recommend shots above the pelvis or ones that don't linger onto commonly sexualized areas of the body. They recommend wider shots so the audience can see the technical ability being displayed by the athlete. Overall, the point is to focus on the athletic performance rather than close-ups of the athlete. Currently, there is no enforcement of these guidelines or penalties if a sports broadcast doesn't adhere to them. However, there is value in knowing which broadcasts will focus on the athletic contests rather than an athlete's appearance. This will help the competitors focus on how they do rather than how they look when the cameras are on. That is really great. To everybody involved with producing a guide from the Eastern Broadcasting Union, or from the European Broadcasting Union, to show how better to just capture the athletics of a person rather than sexualize them and help with the mental health of the athletes so they don't have to worry about that kind of crap. Cheers. Producer Donna says, I hope it starts being enforced or highly encouraged at the Olympics. I hope it starts being encouraged at everything, but we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. This next one we called Shaken, Not Stirred. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this article out. Floating capsule auto disinfects water without chemicals or a battery. This was published on July 9th of 2026 to New Atlas by Simon Heptinstall. An international team of scientists has created a portable water purifier that works simply by shaking it for 3 seconds and setting it to float in wild water. It could be a breakthrough device for water treatment in emergency situations, and, best of all, it's estimated to cost less than $25 to produce. This low cost and simplicity of operation disguise the sophistication of the science involved. However, shaking the canister generates enough power for it to auto-analyze the water and activate an appropriate disinfection process. It then floats in the liquid and, as it bobs, movement of water against its surface creates an electrostatic charge that kills microbes. That extraordinary combination of processes can disinfect a liter of water in 20 minutes to provide reliable, safe drinking water without needing any chemicals, battery, or external power source. The capsule was devised by a collaboration based at Yonsei University in Seoul, South Korea, and led by Professor Sang-Woo Kim, but has input from scientists at the Korea Institute of Science and Technology, the University of Bath in the UK, and Renmin University of China. The device's ingenious working process was explained in a recent paper in Nature Water. It is based on the combination of two state-of-the-art systems. The first system is the shaking. Just 3 seconds is enough to jostle the built-in magnet through a copper coil to generate enough current to power an internal electric field and sensor. This analyzes a small sample of water in the canister by measuring the amount of dissolved material in the water, mostly ions like salts and minerals. The device registers this as a warning signal for possible chemical contamination. If the water measures below 250 milligrams of total dissolved solids per liter, that's the green light. The canister treats the water as low contamination risk and proceeds to microbial disinfection. If the reading is higher, it flags the water as unsuitable and you have to find another patch of water. While it's good for killing microbes, the system can't deal with a chemical contaminant like an arsenic spill, pesticides, or industrial pollutants. Stage 2 is enacted once the device gives itself the chemical all clear. This involves letting the canister float right in the water that it's going to treat. As it bobs along, the water laps up against the plastic shell. This generates a tiny electrostatic charge, like when you rub a balloon against your jumper. The plastic surface becomes positively charged and the water becomes negatively charged. And here's the clever bit. The surface on the outside of the capsule is covered with microscopic polymer nanorods whose tiny tips concentrate the charge into minuscule but very strong electric fields. They're powerful enough to damage any microbes in the water nearby. So basically, it becomes a floating bug zapper for microbes. The process of destroying them by breaking open their bacterial membranes is a little known but established science known as electroporation. In the Korean based study, the self powered electroporation destroyed common lab organisms like E. coli, Bacillus subtilis, and virus surrogates used to quantify water studies. The capsule removed all E. coli and MS2 in 1 liter of water within 20 minutes of activation. Adding B. subtilis took the time to about 25 minutes. In all the tested river and lake water, complete disinfection was achieved within 30 minutes. Cleaning 4 liters of river water took less than an hour. The significance of the process is massive. More than 2 billion people around the world lack the safe, normal drinking water that the first world takes for granted. Add in emergency disaster situations, and the potential applications of this device are huge. Normal strategy in disaster situations is boiling water to purify it, but this uses valuable fuel resources. Chlorine tablets, if they're available, have an unpleasant taste and limited effectiveness. Filters are comparatively expensive and they clog. They break and they've got a limited lifespan. Purification devices usually depend on chemicals, batteries, expertise, and maintenance. This new canister, however, maintained its cleaning performance through 120 repeated disinfection cycles in 4 liters of river water. It purified 480 liters of water just with a few shakes to set it off. Yet the researchers say the estimated manufacturing cost of a canister is under $25, and it could be a lot less if production scales up. This thing is awesome. To everybody involved with the production of a water safety capsule, that you just give it a shake and it starts purifying specific types of water. Cheers. Ooh. The beer is evolving as it warms up. Now there's like a smokiness to it. Oh my gosh. All right, that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. We got one article and one update to go over, so buckle in. And this one is an obligatory cat article, so I will copy and paste it in the chat if y'all want to check this one out. Family sells 136-year-old farm to make way for wildlife crossing deemed a lifeline for mountain lions. This was published on July 16th of 2026 to goodgoodgood.co by Cameron Baker. We almost said obligatory big cat article, but then a quick little search reminded me that mountain lions are not big cats. They're just big, small cats. Make it make sense. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend can. I'm pretty sure I will get a message at some point that's going to be explaining to me why mountain lions are not big cats. My phone will light up. For 136 years, generations of the Erickson family have cultivated their home on Vine Maple Farms near Tenino, a town at the foothills of Washington State's Cascade Mountains. But now they're kissing their farmhouse goodbye. The family sold their 94-acre property for $1.1 million, according to the Seattle Times, all to make way for a major wildlife bridge planned to cross over Interstate 5, reconnecting habitats in the Cascade Mountains with the Olympic Peninsula. With this acquisition, and others like it, the new wildlife crossing is ready to move ahead. It will be the first on this particular freeway in Washington. According to the Seattle Times, nonprofit Conservation Northwest was pivotal in bringing the project to fruition, raising $2.5 million to help buy land for the crossing, which was returned to the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation. Existing connectivity pathways are threatened by growing development pressures, especially along Interstate 5. Increasing suburban sprawl, major flooding, and changing forestry, agricultural, recreational, and economic dynamics add to this need for innovative conservation work. Conservation Northwest wrote on a web page about its Cascades to Olympics connectivity efforts. As an initial step to maintain habitat connections, we are dovetailing off Chehalis Basin restoration strategies and engaging with local communities, tribes, and regional stakeholders to provide means for wolves, elk, fishers, and other wildlife to safely pass I-5 and Highway 12. That initial step has become a life-changing pivot for families like the Ericksons, though. But they aren't sore about the sale of their farm. In fact, the family told the Seattle Times that about 50 years ago, Alan and Janice Erickson drew up the Vine Maple Farms Trust, stipulating that when all the family's descendants are gone, the farm should be preserved for conservation. So here we have come, Janice Erickson told the Times. Marla, the youngest descendant of the Ericksons, said the decision to sell was an easy yes. Just knowing that this land is going from our family back to where it belongs with the Chehalis tribes makes us very happy, Marla said in a statement for Conservation Northwest. It feels like a full circle moment. According to a video from Conservation Northwest, the area this bridge would cover used to be a place where animal populations could traverse with ease before European civilization came. Now, they said, attempting to cross I-5 would spell certain death. Conservationists believe the wildlife crossing would serve as a lifeline for endangered species like the cougars of the Olympic Peninsula, along with black bear, deer, elk, beavers, newts, and fishers. Plus, wildlife crossings are widely credited for saving billions in costs associated with wildlife vehicle collisions nationwide. A 2022 study estimated that Washington has saved an estimated $235,000 to $443,000 each year per structure. So when the data pointed to this spot as a great opportunity to improve wildlife and reduce vehicle deaths, Conservation Northwest came together with the state's Fish and Wildlife and Transportation departments, along with indigenous nations and other nonprofits like Pantera, to make it happen. Conservation Northwest helped acquire 180 acres of land, which were returned to the Chehalis tribe, with adjacent lands conserved under additional agreements. Oh, I think I just saw that message pop up. The tribe is also buying ancestral lands back to heal the habitat. Oh, here we go. We got an update. Oh, I do have information for you. So mountain lions are not big cats for a number of reasons. For one, they are not in the Panthera genus, which is the big cat genus. Mountain lions are in the puma genus. They also can't roar, which is a common trait of all big cats. Fun fact, the closest living relative to the mountain lion is the cheetah, which also isn't a big cat. Thank you very much for that update. Now you know. From the tribe's point of view, we couldn't be more excited to find out that this idea is not just a pipe dream. The Chehalis tribe is committed to help do whatever we need to do. Wow, that's a weird sentence. The Chehalis tribe is committed to help do whatever we need to do to make this thing happen. The Ericksons were eager to play their part, and now, if everything goes according to plan, the Seattle Times reports the state could pursue federal funding for the crossing in the coming years. I think it's really important for people to understand that this landscape has so much potential for partnerships, and so much potential to have private landowners not look at conservation as something that goes against their interests. Paula Sweeden, Conservation Northwest's policy director, said in a video about the effort. In this age of despair over climate change, this is another place where we can look for hope. That is awesome. To the Erickson family for giving up a home they've had for 136 years, to the Chehalis tribe and to everybody involved with Conservation Northwest producing new land bridges or wildlife highways, effectively, to keep wildlife safe. Like, thank you very much, and cheers. Becky says that they're like micro big cats. So we have an update. And on a previous episode of Nick's News, we talked about beluga whales that needed to be moved. Wildlife corridors. Thank you, producer Donna. That's the word I was looking for, or the term I was looking for. So we were talking about some beluga whales from marine land in Niagara Falls and the fact that they needed to get moved. And so our update is that 7 more beluga whales have been transported from marine land in Niagara Falls to SeaWorld's San Antonio location. This brings the total of 13 of the 30 whales moved successfully. Before the transfers began, Marine Land had 30 belugas and 4 dolphins, the largest complement of captive belugas in the world, as well as Canada's last remaining captive whales and dolphins. And now 7 of them have been successfully moved. There's still a few more, 13 have been moved total, with these 7 latest ones going to San Antonio's SeaWorld. So, really great stuff to everybody involved that's moving those belugas and getting them to new homes for, not only scientific research, but also so that they can be observed and have, good lives. Cheers. There's a lot of care. Like, every aquarium I've gone to that has had whales, or at least belugas, that I've seen, has put a lot of work into these animals, making sure that they are comfortable. They have large tanks. They've got enough room to move around. And they've got members of their species to interact with. So there are also plenty of funny videos of them interacting with other species, like dogs, and looking like they want to eat small children. But, that's for different channels and videos. All right. So that's going to get us out of flora and fauna, and we're going to move on to category 4, the wholesome notes. We really like these. So this first one is a Saviors of All Ages article. This is really awesome. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Producer Donna says, the belugas are settling in nicely. They'll remain in quarantine for a bit before being introduced to the others. Very nice. Very good conservation work on that part. Doing quarantine and then releasing them into the groups. Iowa teen bike riders save injured elderly woman that was stranded outside for 16 hours. 2 13-year-olds saved a woman's life. This was published to good.is on June 23rd of 2026 by Eric Barnes. It started like a typical summer morning for 13-year-olds Gunnar Skidmore and Cohen Chick of Fruitland, Iowa. Skidmore was eating a Pop-Tart and scrolling through social media when Chick invited him for a bike ride. As they biked through a local trail, they noticed something off when riding past some houses. That's when they found an elderly woman lying on the ground. I went to the trail and Cohen was like, "You see that lady back there?" I was like, "No." Then we went back and looked, and it took a little while to find her, and we found her. I said, "Hey ma'am, are you okay?" She was like, "Yeah, I need help. Call 911, Skidmore told 6KWQC News. According to reports, the woman fell outside at 5 p.m. the previous day after 5 p.m. the previous day after feeding her horse. Unable to get up, she rolled herself from the backyard to the front yard in hopes of getting help. She spent the night lying outside exposed with no phone, no water, or food. She'd been lying there for over 16 hours until the boys discovered her. She was like scared. You could just tell because, like her face, she was covered in all these bugs and stuff, said Chick. The teens were hesitant to approach the woman at first, but quickly called Skidmore's mother. She immediately drove to their location and called 911. The woman had an ambulance quickly transport her to a nearby Muscatine hospital for treatment. While the extent of her injuries are not public knowledge, the intense summer heat and lack of water could have turned the woman's fall into a fatal one. A few more hours and she definitely wouldn't have made it, said Skidmore. Skidmore's mom has remained in contact with the injured woman's family. She's also caring for the woman's horse and plans on preparing a lasagna dinner for her when she returns from the hospital. The boys were congratulated and celebrated by the community for their actions. Skidmore and Chick were given a special award courtesy of Muscatine County Emergency Management. Today, I would like to recognize the extraordinary actions of two young men whose quick thinking and compassion helped save a life in Muscatine County, the MCEM director stated in a speech that was posted on Facebook. Without their prompt actions of Gunner and Cohen, the outcome could have been tragic. Their awareness, compassion, and willingness to help a person in need undoubtedly made a difference and may very well have saved her life. For their heroic actions and outstanding example of community service, Muscatine County Emergency Management is proud to present Gunner Skidmore and Cohen Chick with the Life Saving Award. The speech continued. Thank you, Gunner and Cohen, for your selfless actions and commitment to helping a fellow citizen. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Quick thinking and a willingness to help a neighbor is how two teens and a mom became local heroes. That is awesome. To Gunner Skidmore and Cohen Chick, who happened upon a woman who had taken a fall and had been on the ground for 16 hours, getting her the help that she needed. And to, which one's mother was it again? I think it was Skidmore's mom. Yeah, to Gunner Skidmore's mother as well for making the call that helped get emergency services over. Cheers. Truly saviors of all ages in that article. All right, our last article of the night is a Sometimes It Takes a Village article. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this one out. Let me just say, good.is rolled out some heavy hitters for this episode. Ohio local news viewers spring into action after seeing an elderly woman threatened with jail time. Many reached out to help a complete stranger. This was published on June 29th of 2026 to good.is and was published by Eric Barnes. Beverly Thomas was in trouble. The 79-year-old retired nurse in Willoughby, Ohio, was summoned to court due to the state of her lawn. The judge told Thomas she could possibly be jailed for failing to maintain her property. Fortunately, Thomas was saved by people she never even met. Thomas has arthritis and tremors, making yard work incredibly difficult for her to do. She also lives on a fixed income, unable to afford either landscaping or legal bills. She had no idea what to do. I went to court and heard the judge say that I can be put in jail over it, making it sound like a crime. Then I got nervous and had trouble sleeping at night, Thomas said to News 5 Cleveland. After Thomas's plight was reported on the local news, she had a knock on her door the following day. Standing right in front of her were the two people she needed most, a lawn care professional and an attorney offering their services. They said, "We don't know each other, but we just showed up at the same time. Wow, good people at the same time. Amazing and reassuring," Thomas said. The lawn care professional, Norbert Sanick, came across Thomas's story while on Facebook. Since he was nearby and could do something, he felt compelled to act. He and the attorney weren't alone. Dozens of people reached out to News 5 Cleveland to see how they could help Thomas. Sanick organized volunteers to help. Some even took the day off work to drive over to Thomas's home to cut grass, pull weeds, and haul trash. While significant progress has been made on Thomas's property, Sanick knew that Thomas still needed more help that couldn't be accomplished through human muscle. So, he set up a GoFundMe for Thomas. We are asking for $6,000 to cover the cost of removing dangerous trees, a dumpster to haul away debris, paying her fines and court costs, installing a security system, and building her a small garden that reflects her love of nature, wrote Sanick on Thomas's GoFundMe page. When the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging caught wind of the story, they decided to chip in. The agency provides advocacy and assistance for senior citizens so they can live independently. I know that she has a GoFundMe account going on right now, and we're actually willing to match it up to $3,000, said Christopher Hall, the Chief Operating Officer for the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. As of this writing, Thomas's GoFundMe is a little over $5,000 of its $6,000 goal. We'll get to that at the end. Many of the donations came from locals and people across the country alike. Thomas was astounded that so many strangers would show up to help her, whether it was through volunteer work or donations. I didn't know there were kind people out there willing to help like this. I'm touched, Thomas said. I hope God blesses them for giving for giving of their time to help somebody who can't do it anymore. Thank you, one and all. If Thomas's story speaks to you, you may notice a neighbor's lawn growing neglected. It might be worth it to knock on their door and offer to mow or trim the hedges. If you're not comfortable doing that or you lack the tools, you can still help. Search online for volunteer groups in your area that can help this person. There are also national nonprofit organizations, such as I Want to Mow Your Lawn Incorporated, that could provide the help that your neighbor needs. As of today, August 9th, the taping of this episode, that GoFundMe has raised $9,760 against that goal of $6,000. They have blown it out of the water. To everybody involved with helping Beverly Thomas through a very tough time, helping to support her through the legal troubles that she encountered, and also getting her property back in order. Sometimes it takes a village. Cheers. Just really cool people doing really cool people things. All right. Well, that's about it for tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. Again, we're live every Sunday. However, I'm out of town next weekend, and I am not expected to get back in time to do Nick's News. So, our next episode is actually going to be on Monday, August 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Same time, just going to bump it to Monday so that I'm back in time. We encourage participation, so by all means, if you feel inclined, you can post suggestions for news brews, shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes. If you send a bunch, please try to spread them out across our 4 major categories, which again are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes. The really nice ones we like to end on, like 2 kids that went out for a bike ride and saved a life, or an entire nation coming together to help an elderly woman. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description below. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our content across all our platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, where we post our news nibbles. It helps to get good news and joy out into the algorithm. Like all the interaction, especially with YouTube, it's now the algorithm is completely focused on just likes and comments, not views at all. So all that interaction continues to drive Nick's News continues to push us into the algorithm, and I can't thank you all enough for it. Please note SEO improvement advertisements, we're not interested. We do minimal advertising, but everything word of mouth, all the interaction from you guys is what continues to drive us and into the algorithm on everything, so it's great. As always, thank you all very much. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.